All right, welcome back to Halftime Girl. This is the first episode of the new bi weekly schedule, um, which is starting to definitely work out, I feel like, a little better to maintain that balance and alignment that we've been talking about for the past couple of episodes. So I've been working myself on also keeping my balance by still making sure that I do some of the things that I love at the same time as working and building and growing. So some of the things that I love to do, especially because it's been so cold lately, and then we got snow this weekend too. So I wasn't trying to go anywhere. But one thing about me, I love watching documentaries. I'm more so into the ones that discuss like missing persons or true crime theories. But every once in a while, I delve into the ones about current events or like, celebrity events. And I watched that one with that Harry and Meghan documentary, the Meghan Markle Prince Harry documentary that came out, I think, a couple years ago. And it was about, their journey, how they met, their love, the media obsession over in England, all of that. But it was one of the later episodes where she was talking about moving past everything and moving forward and choosing her word for the upcoming year. And I hadn't ever really like thought of that concept, but the moment I heard it, I immediately was like, "Ooh, I love that." And I'm at in such an elevating time in my life right now. Not not really transforming into someone new, just stepping more fully into who I've always been. So, yeah, I decided to choose a word for the year for myself for next year. For the next year of my evolution, I should say. And at first, I had like that knee jerk reaction of, girl, it's way too soon to be thinking about next year. And New Year resolutions always seem like a bit of a cliche to me. And low key, I don't really feel like that's wrong because society always tells us that January 1st is the magical day for change. But then I was just like, I don't know, why wait? I can't even begin to tell you how many times that I've waited for the right moment in my life. Like ever since I was a teenager, the right moment to tell a crush how I feel about them and holding back words because I thought I needed to gain more confidence or be more like someone else. And putting myself into the perfect situation and then just doing an abrupt turn and running away like a dog with my tail between my legs. And we think that change happens on January 1st, but change happens on an ordinary Tuesday with nobody watching. So start now. Choose now. That way, by the time that the year starts, you're already ahead of the game and you're living how you want to. NFL players don't show up to the season and then try to get ready. They prepare in silence. They have the OTAs, they have training camp, there's hours of unseen reps in the gym. And that's what this is. This is your pre 2026 training camp. And it starts with choosing your word of the year. Now, I know off the rip, this seems like the kind of thing where you can just choose the first thing to pop into your head. And sure, you absolutely can do that. There's no doubting that. There's no judgment in that. But be honest with yourself about the difference that you want to see and commit to it. Write it down. Define what success with that word actually looks like for you. So for me, for 2026, I've chosen the word unapologetic. You see, for me, I've spent years shrinking myself, smoothing my edges and dimming and negotiating my shine. And I'm done with all that. Starting Halftime Girl was me fully remembering my voice. And 2026 is going to be me using that without flinching. Now, when I say the word unapologetic, it doesn't mean, being rude or being disrespectful. It simply means being rooted. It means I no longer have to dim or explain myself. With the way I'm going into next year, and I can only speak for myself, but I think you may agree. Nothing that we want will be achieved by second guessing. In this episode, it's not about my word. It's actually about helping you find yours. I'm just showing you what it looks like in real time. You've got to be able to trust your intuition and move with authority, not hesitation. Find out what your 2026 word means to you and write a list down. From there, that's where we step into the daily check-in. It's just one simple question that I ask myself every morning. Where or how will I show up unapologetically today? Will it be at work? Going along through my normal day, there's different interactions that you have with different people. Am I going to respond emotionally, or am I going to respond rooted and honestly and just stand 10 toes down? Am I going to, also stand 10 toes down when replying to my emails? I'm not going to, reply to any emails like, hey, that call didn't have to be a call. It could have been a text message. It could have been an email chain. I'm not going to say anything like that. That's that's when you start taking it disrespectfully. But, staying rooted and being honest about where you stand, it goes a long way. Am I going to show up unapologetically at Starbucks when I get there with my mobile order and they make it wrong anyway, and I start feeling bad for having to tell them that they messed up? Which I ended up telling them that they messed up, because why is my order? It literally says it right here. But what surprised me, it wasn't that the action was big. It wasn't. It was just how uncomfortable it felt to do something so small without apologizing for it. And I realized how often I actually soften myself automatically, or how often I rush to explain or to apologize. And, I simply just said, excuse me, this order is incorrect. It was supposed to be oat milk instead of regular milk. And, choosing differently, even in those tiny moments, I started to build this quiet trust in myself. So even if it's just a small action to take it. And hold yourself accountable to actually ask yourself how you're going to show up daily. I set a small goal of 45 days in a row from the first day that I had this idea. And seeing as how now we're in the midway through December now, wow. Set your goal for the remaining days of the year. So you've got a good solid 2 weeks. Now, I'm old school. I still use tally marks to mark my progress. And around day 12 or 13, it started becoming second nature to wake up with that question at the forefront of my brain. It's been super weird, because it just feels so incredibly powerful to be able to just show up for myself without that whole new year, new me energy. And I can literally feel the internal shift. And it's not loud or dramatic or anything. It feels more in tune and aligned. I second guess myself way less. And, doubt still creeps in, of course, but it's like I bounce back way faster. Unapologetic isn't who I want to be. It's who I've decided to start being. I'm not chasing who I want to be anymore. I'm meeting her, slowly, in real time. And from there, from there, I wanted to take it a step further. Like, I'm like, okay, like, I'm getting into this groove now. How do I make sure that it actually sticks and I'm gaining something from this? So, I do have a bigger alignment ritual and a creative ritual that I'm building from, from this whole idea, from around this whole idea. But I'm not going to overwhelm you with all of that today. What I will share is the one thing that helped me stay consistent, which was having a physical anchor. So for me, my physical anchor it's pretty simple. It's my word of the year as my phone wallpaper and the Halftime Girl brand colors. I didn't want something that was complicated or over the top. I just wanted something that was something that literally I touch 100 times a day. We're all on our phones. It's literally the first thing that I see when I wake up, and then it's the last thing I see before I go to bed. So it literally keeps my word at the front of my mind, not in a notebook somewhere that I might forget about. And I feel like it helps ground me, like instead of reacting emotionally, it gives me that half second to choose. And your anchor doesn't have to look like mine. The only rule is it should be something that you interact with daily. If you want to make it your laptop, if you want to put a sticky note on your mirror or a card in your wallet, hang something up in your car, a vision board, but it has to be something that brings you back to yourself. My word's unapologetic, but this process works for no matter what word you choose. And this is about practicing who you're becoming, not copying my journey. Future you starts today. Remember that. If this episode resonated with you, take a moment today, even just one, to think about the word that you're stepping into next. If you want to share your word for 2026, I want to hear it. You can DM me or send me an email at halftimegirlpodcast@gmail.com. Recently, I did make the Facebook page. Told you guys I was going to do it. I definitely did. I just wanted to make sure the community was there to start building this little halftime huddle. So feel free to leave a comment. Leave a comment there. Leave a comment wherever you're listening. Spotify, Apple. And just, if this episode helped you, share it with someone who needs it. I know I say that all the time, but I really do genuinely mean it. You never know who needs to hear what at what time. You never know who's sitting in their halftime moment right alongside you. So until next time, Halftime Girl out.